Have you ever thought about quitting your job and then traveling the entire country for a whole year, but thought to yourself, how much money would I really need to save to do that? Well, my name is Eric, and that's exactly what I did. So let's find out how much money I just spent on the road for 1 year without a job. My name is Eric, and I quit my job to travel around the country for 1 year in a teardrop trailer. From Florida to California to Washington to the Canadian Rockies to Maine and back to Florida. It's always been my dream to see the entire United States, and I'm doing it. I'm escaping normal life. All right, I'll admit this is not going to be the most exciting video for a lot of people, but for those of you who are really curious and want to find out how much it costs perhaps to quit your job and then travel for a whole year, then this is a video for you. Now, obviously the way that people choose to live and the way that people choose to travel are going to be completely different from each other. This is just how I did it. The type of car you drive, how much miles you put on it every month, if you cook a lot more versus eating out a lot more, if you do restaurants versus fast food, these are all going to be contributing factors on how much you spent. Now, when I got on the road, I thought maybe I would spend about $10,000 for an entire year. Now, I just kind of randomly, arbitrarily picked that number. It was a nice big round number. It was easy to kind of follow. It came out to about $833 for every month, and that came out to about $27 a day. So I thought if I can keep my expenses down to $27 to $30 a day, I would be able to hit that budget. Now, obviously, some people are asking yourself right now, did you hit that number? Is that all you spent was $10,000 for an entire year? And the quick and short answer to that is no. No, I did not. But stay tuned till the end so you can find out exactly where I messed up so that you don't do the same mistakes. Now, I knew some of the biggest contributing factors were obviously going to be things like food and gas. Now, I'm one to already cook a lot at home, so I was going to do the same thing when I got on the road. I lived in a teardrop trailer for a year, which meant I had to do all my cooking outside in the galley area, which was fine when the weather was cooperating, but the weather didn't always cooperate with me. It was either very cold sometimes, it was either raining, sometimes I was in snow, or just downright windy conditions, so I didn't always cook my meals on the road. Sometimes I had to go to a restaurant. Now, one of the first areas I know where I spend a lot more money than usual is eating out at restaurants versus fast food. I am just personally not a fast food fan. I don't like the food. I don't think it tastes good. I'm certainly not getting any kind of nutritional value out of it. So when I went out to eat at restaurants, I chose a sit-down restaurant, and obviously that's going to be a lot more expensive than a fast food restaurant. So I already knew I was spending a lot more money in that area than, say, eating out at McDonald's all the time. Another contributing factor is that I already had some recurring monthly expenses like cell phone bills and a storage unit back at home where I had all my stuff waiting for me when I returned back from traveling. Now, I have 2 lines on my cell phone because I was traveling solo and I was in a lot of remote areas, and I wanted to make sure that I had good cell phone coverage from one carrier to the next. But that also means that I had 2 cell phone bills every month. So that's another contributing factor that might be different from other people's travels. Where another area where I could have saved a little bit of money every month was on subscriptions. Things like Hulu, things like music subscriptions. However, those are things I just did not want to give up. I'm a big music connoisseur. I love having music around me all the time, and that means paying on a music subscription like Apple Music or Sirius Radio. Those are 2 areas I could have saved money every month and just listened to the radio in local areas, but I just didn't want to do that. That was just not a comfort I wanted to give up. All right, well, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Now, before I hit the road, I went ahead and I created a spreadsheet of all the things I knew I'd be spending every month. Things like food, things like gas, things like car insurance, cell phone bills, etc., etc. I also put on there things like car maintenance and campsites. Campsites obviously being something I might spend on the road as I was looking for a place to stay every night. I also put car maintenance on this list because I was basically living out of my car for an entire year. So I knew I'd be doing things like oil changes and just general maintenance a lot more than the average person. All right, so let's go ahead and jump to the list right now so you can visually see how much I spent roughly every month. Okay, so here is the spreadsheet I created. Now, I tried to make this as easy as possible to follow along, but let me give you a quick overview of what you're looking at as I kind of go through this whole thing. Starting with this screen in front of us and on money out. Now, this is blank right now, but as I go through each month, you're going to see these numbers obviously change, what I spent on gas, groceries, all that good stuff. But I want to give you kind of an overview of what I was actually looking to spend every single month. And these numbers right here, as I plug them in every month, will change this over here. Now this is just an example right here to show you kind of what I was looking to spend every single month. As I mentioned, this will change over here, what I plug in over here, but I just want to give you kind of an idea of what you're going to be looking at every month. And I color coded it to make it all a little easier to follow along. Down here, this area is going to kind of show you by color code what everything is up here. So these smaller sections you see up here in this top will be down here if you kind of need to see them there. And under miscellaneous, this will be an area in which I had to do things like maybe car maintenance, maybe, you know, if I was like, when I was at Niagara Falls, I did like the boat ride there. So I did that. If I had to get like gloves when it got cold, or a new jacket, or hiking boots, or my power inverter, and all that good stuff, all is going to fall under this category. So that's going to change every month, and I'll walk you through that. Now, as we look at these categories up here, we got gas. Now, obviously, I'm traveling across the country for a year, so that gas number is going to change, and it's going to be pretty high every month. So that's why I put it high up on the list. 2, we got groceries. 3, we got food out. That's going to be eating out at restaurants and things. Under that, we got car maintenance. Now, car maintenance is not just car maintenance, things like oil changes, and I had to buy new tires at one point on the road. But this is also any kind of trailer maintenance. So things that had to get fixed on the teardrop, that's going to fall under this category as well. Campsites. I didn't spend a lot on campsites on the road, mostly because I try to sleep at free places to sleep, or, you know, boondocking sites. But there are some places I actually had to spend money on campsites, so we might see a number there. Progressive. This is my trailer insurance. This is my teardrop insurance. I pay this monthly. But on my car insurance, I pay that every 6 months. So I didn't put my car insurance on this list because, again, that's not a monthly expense. It's just every 6-month expense. But the progressive one is for my trailer. Storage. I mentioned that I put all my stuff that I had in my apartment in storage before I left. So, you know, my couch, my dresser, my bed, my TV, all that stuff was back in storage. So I had a monthly expense there. I talked about having music subscriptions for listening to music on the road, and I have 2 of them. I have Sirius Radio in the car, and I actually have Apple Music, but Apple Music is paid for by my Verizon, and so that's why that is not on this list, but I did pay monthly for my satellite radio. iCloud. You're going to see that the iCloud, as we go through this, iCloud is going to have $0 for the first couple months, but then it starts having a few dollars after that. And so I put it on this list because I knew that iCloud was going to be kind of not costing me anything at first, but then eventually start costing me money. And then I have 2 cell phone bills. I have T-Mobile and I have Verizon. T-Mobile is what I've had for several years, and the last employer I had before I hit the road gave me a significant discount with T-Mobile. So in a minute, you're going to see what I spend every month on T-Mobile, and it's pretty low. But to give myself best coverage, I also picked up Verizon, and so that's just a normal cell phone bill, and you'll see that what I spend on that every month. And then I have the area for miscellaneous, and again, that's going to be down here for anything that was not basically on this list that I had to spend for that month down here. All right, so that's what you're going to be looking at every month. As I scroll up here with my mouse, I'm going to scroll over here, and we're going to go through every single month. I got November 2001, December 2021, all the way over to the far left. We have November 2022. That's when I stopped traveling and got back to Florida. And the very last tab, we have this total. So I'm going to share with you at the very, very end how much I spent on the road through every single one of these months. But before I do that, what did I think I was going to spend? So that's under this tab right here. All right. Right here, we have every single month what I was starting out with in the hole, $230. And that's because every single month I had the same kind of recurring expenses on these. My trailer insurance was $35. My storage back home was roughly $90. Satellite radio was $7. Then eventually you're going to see iCloud go to $3. My T-Mobile, $17. As I mentioned, my last employer gave me a really, really good discount with T-Mobile. They gave me a good discount with Verizon and AT&T and everybody, but I just chose T-Mobile as my cell phone provider. $17. So you can't beat that. So that's why that's so low. And then for my Verizon bill is going to change a little bit as the months progressed. It started out, I think, around $45 and then went eventually up to $80. And that's because I had to change my plan a couple times on the road. But in short, $230 is what I started about each month on the road. And then things like gas, groceries, food, all that good stuff is going to change every month. All right. Okay, so what did I actually plan on spending every single month, and what did I try to spend for the entire year? As a reminder, I was trying to spend about $10,000 for the entire year. Now that is just, again, an arbitrary number. I just picked it out of kind of thin air. It really had no rhyme or reason for picking that number. It was just a nice big round number. And that basically came out to about $830 a month, a little over that roughly. I think it was $833 exactly, which came out to $27 a day, or just under $30 a day. I thought if I could hit that $30 a day, under $900 a month, that I would be great. I would hit that target of $10,000 for the whole year. I even thought if I go as high as $1,000 a month, that that wouldn't be terrible. So what did I end up spending every month? Remembering that I always have that $230 every month. Well, let's take a look at the first month, and we're going to go ahead and dive right into November 2021 when I first hit the road. All right, starting off with the top one, gas, $400 on gas. I knew I'd be spending a lot of money on gas because I'm just driving all the time. I'm driving around for years, so no surprises there. Groceries, I spent a little over $330 on groceries. And I think before I started traveling full time, I was spending probably around $400 a month on groceries. I don't remember. So this is not too far off from what I was spending on groceries. Now that first month, I spent over $200 on restaurants. That's food out. And that's because the first month I was actually meeting up with a lot of friends on the road that I haven't seen in a long time. And, everybody wants to get together and go to a restaurant. So that first month, I was spending a little bit more on restaurants than I thought I was going to spend. So I was hoping they drop that down a little bit. All right, had no car maintenance going on that first month. And that first month, I ended up spending $56 on campsites. Now, I started out in the East Coast, and there was just not a lot of campsites, free camping on the East Coast. So that's not a big surprise to actually spend some money on the first month on camping. But you'll see in a couple months following that's mostly going to be zero under campsites. Again, we got Progressive, $35 a month. Storage was $7 a month. And my satellite radio, $7. iCloud, $0. Again, you're going to see that change in a couple months, go up to like $3 because that first couple months I didn't need it, but then in the end I did. And then my first T-Mobile bill is a little bit cheaper at $23. A little more expensive at $23, and that's because I had my cellular watch on there. But then I ended up dropping that cellular watch because I didn't need it on the road. So that's why it went down to $17. And the reason my Verizon bill the first month was only $5 is because that was the first month I had it, and I think that was a promotional thing. So I don't remember exactly why it was just only $5, but normally it was like $80 towards the end. All right, here's where you're going to start to see that miscellaneous number start to plug in. And this first month on the road, I spent over $400. So why did I spend over $400 that first month? Well, that's because I needed some hiking boots when I first got on the road. That was over $100. I needed a little shovel for like at campsites and things. That was under $15. I just picked that up at a Walmart. Power inverter. So this was a big piece of the puzzle when I got my solar installed. I needed a power inverter, and that was $75. It was a little 500 watt power inverter. And when I first got on the road, I grossly underestimated how cold the rest of the country gets from Florida. So I had to buy some winter gear at a Dick's Sporting Goods in Texas. That was my first month on the road. I was mostly kind of getting into Texas. And I spent over $200 there. So yeah, it is what it is. I was very cold. All right, so you're going to see this right here. This is going to start to change based on these numbers over here. So that first month, I spent just under $1,500, and the bulk of that was gas, groceries, and eating out at restaurants. So no surprise, those are the things you're probably going to see the most every single month, kind of be the biggest. But some months you'll see where I had some car maintenance issues, things like that. You're going to start to see that plug in. All right, so the first month, that's what I spent, under $1,500. Second month on the road, December, again, mostly in Texas that month. $400 in gas, $300 on groceries, almost $200 on restaurants. So coming down a little bit and eating out at restaurants and things. Campsites. I spent a lot of money on campsites in December, and that's because in Texas there's basically no dispersed camping. There's really no free camping. Basically, that's what boondocking is. So I had to pay money on campsites. So yeah, not something I wanted to spend, and you're going to see most months that's going to be zero. But it is what it is. I need a place to sleep for the night. So again, Progressive. My storage unit. I think the first month, let me go back here. I think storage, yeah, $7. And the reason this storage was only $7 is because it was a promotional thing when I first signed up for my storage unit. They gave it to me for really, really cheap that first month. But you're going to see the second month, it's going to go back up to the $88. All right, so we got storage up here for $88. I got my radio again. Hulu, this is when I picked up Hulu for $6 a month. And then dropping down, we got T-Mobile, and this is where my Verizon was the normal bill at $45. So these right here, I'm not going to go through these every single month, starting from Progressive and on down to here. I really won't talk about these every single month. These are going to be recurring expenses. I'll mention if they change at all, but for the most part, I'll just kind of focus on this area to this area and down here to miscellaneous. All right, so miscellaneous, $222. What did I spend money on? Right down here is miscellaneous. I got a jacket when I was in Texas. I had to. I was really cold. I left Florida with not the proper winter gear, so I had to pick up a proper jacket when I was in Texas. So that would cost me over $200 there, on top of the already $200 I spent at Dick's Sporting Goods to get some like wool socks and some warmer pants, and I think I bought a hoodie and another like fleece-lined shirt and stuff like that. So that's what that's all about. Same thing over here, gas, groceries, restaurants, that make up a bulk of what I spent in that month. We got campsites up here, bringing about 10% of what I spent that first month. So all in all, again, just under $1,500. So remember, I was hoping to spend no more than $1,000 a month. So those first 2 months, I was a little disheartened with myself to be spending that so much money, but you're going to see that this was kind of a recurring theme. All right, so we jump over to January 2022, and I start the new year with dropping a little bit less in gas. I was not doing as much driving once I got to here. I think once I reached January on the road, I was in the West. I started reaching New Mexico and was not doing as much driving because I was starting to spend a little more time at each place. Groceries, $330. Eating out at restaurants dropped down to $175. Car maintenance. So this is the first month we see car maintenance, $350. Let's go down here and see what it was. I'm going to zoom in on that so it's a little bit easier to see. And we have oil change, rear differential fluid, and air filters, $345 roughly. So that's what that is. I'm going to scroll or zoom back out. So that's what that number up there is all about. You know, if you have a car, you're gonna spend money on routine maintenance things. It is what it is. So I needed those things done. So campsites, $2. I don't know where I say there was only $2. Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, I only spent $2 on campsites. Again, these are all recurring things. Now, this is the first month I pick up Apple Care on my phone. I just bought a new phone right before I hit the road. And I think I was worried about dropping it with all the hiking and stuff I was doing outside. So I went ahead and picked up Apple Care, and it was roughly $10 a month. So you're going to see that as a new expense every single month. Again, iCloud was nothing the first couple months. And we have the normal cell phone bills. And then miscellaneous, $107. So I'm going to scroll in. I don't know what I bought at REI for $107, but I bought something at REI for $107. I wish I would have put something there. I don't know what I bought. But now we've gone up to a little over $1,500. I'm going to scroll out. We've gone over a little over $1,500 for the month. So still right around the $1,500 mark. Way more, $500 more a month than I wanted to spend. And over here on the far right, we see this pie graph just kind of change a little bit because car maintenance has been a big bulk of that. So, you know, with the oil change and the rear differential fluid and all that good stuff. So, all right, second month of the new year, we got gas, $165. Way cheaper. That's nice. And I think that's because by then in February, I had reached New Mexico and started meeting up with some other travelers. I just started meeting other travelers on the road. And I actually just started kind of like staying put for a little bit while longer. You know, it was cold still. Even though I was in Arizona, it was cold still. And, you know, just there was nowhere else to really go. So staying out in the desert, just trying to stay south as much as possible and just kind of staying put. And so yeah, so I wasn't doing as much driving, which is nice. But I did do a lot more, but I did spend a lot more in groceries here at over $500. And that's because as I started to approach the west, you'll see this starts going up as well as gas. And so you're going to see in March and like April of 2022, the gas prices start to soar. So that's going to really start to change here. Restaurants, $265 roughly. Yeah, I think it was just cold there in the desert, and so I was starting to eat out a little bit more at restaurants. So yeah, the weather dictated a lot of me going out to restaurants a lot. All right, car maintenance. We got $900. So let's scroll down and let's zoom in, and we got a couple things. All right, this is when I cracked the the axle on my trailer. The first time, it was just bent and not broken. So I went to a place and they welded it for under $200, and I thought that fixed it. I also had to get a new tire for the trailer, so that in total cost me under $200. But then, like a couple weeks later, maybe about 2 weeks later, I actually ended up breaking the whole axle on my trailer, and so altogether, that cost me over $700 in parts and the axle. So yeah, so that's why if I scroll out, I go back up here, $900 car maintenance. Again, that's not the car itself, that was for the trailer. Yeah, it sucks. It is what it is. All right, same repeating things all the way down. Yeah, nothing really changed there, so I'm not going to go over those. But over $2,000 that month in February, and that is, again, mostly because of the trailer. Yeah, that month would have been really nice on what I spent if I hadn't spent that extra $900. That would have been nice. I would have hit my target of around $1,000 for the month. All right, so over here on the pie graph, we got car maintenance being the bulk of that. No surprise, $900 in car repairs, in trailer repairs. So yeah, so let's go over to March 2022, what I spend there. All right, as I mentioned, the gas gets really high here. Yeah. Gas across the country skyrocketed, and I was out west, approaching California, so gas was like $6 a gallon. When I was in Death Valley, I spent like $8 a gallon. Nothing you can do about it. You're living in your car, you got to drive, and you got to deal with it. So, groceries. I spent a lot of money on groceries. As I approached the west, groceries got really expensive, and again, it is what it is. I didn't eat out as much, which is nice. And car maintenance, we have $242. So let's scroll down and zoom in. What did I spend $242 on? Trailer wire to car. Okay, on my trailer, there's a wire that runs from my trailer to my car, and that will turn on all the lights on my trailer when I turn on my headlights to my car. That came loose, and it got drug for several miles and got totally toasted. So it was not working, and so I needed to get a new wire, and it was electrical work, and I don't know anything about electrical stuff, so I went to a place to have it installed. So that's why that cost me roughly $250 there. Let me scroll out, and yeah, so that's why that's on this list that month. Scrolling down, we got all the normal things. Okay, Verizon changes to $70 from $45. I started going through my data quite a lot on the road. And so that I had to change my data plan, so that's why that changes from $45 to $70. And then miscellaneous, $719. Oh, somebody scroll in. Miscellaneous that month is two things. I got a rooftop carrier, and I got some stuff here at REI. So I'll talk about this first. The rooftop carrier, that goes on top of my car, and that cost me under $600. A good rooftop carrier for a car is just not cheap. I went to the dealership and got it. It's a Thule brand, but I checked. That one I got is the same price everywhere, so it doesn't matter if I got it at the dealership or if I would have bought it online. It would have been $600. Actually, it was a little bit cheaper at the dealership because they were able to knock off $50. So it is what it is. I didn't necessarily need it because I had traveled for the first couple months without it, but it really did help me. I put so much stuff up there. It got me so much more room back in the car. Things weren't piled on top of everything as much. So I didn't need to buy it. At $600, I could have easily saved, but it really helped me. It really did. So, and then as I went through campsites, I had like a really crappy chair, and so I ended up buying a better chair like a little rocking chair. It's a really good GCI chair that you can find at most outdoor stores, and it's like a little rocking chair, so it was really comfortable. Because I was sitting at campsites in like a little like beach chair, and it just was not comfortable. So again, something I didn't need to spend money on, but it just made things more comfortable for me. Gloves. You know, when I first got on the road, I had some really cheap, crappy gloves, and I quickly found out that those were not going to do. So I'd buy a pair of gloves, and then they weren't as warm as I thought they should be, so I'd return them, and I get another pair, and those sucked, and I got another pair, and those weren't as good. So I went through like 4 pairs of gloves on the road. So you're going to see gloves going to be down here in my miscellaneous for the first couple months here. But altogether, on the chair and the gloves, I spent $125. So that's what this is combined of these two. Let me zoom out, and so you can see. Let me move up a little bit. There we go. Gas, groceries, car maintenance, and restaurants. So again, that's the bulk of what I spent over here. All right, let's go to April. April, gas gets really expensive. Yeah, this might have been when I went through Death Valley too, because again, I spent $8 a gallon in Death Valley, and there's no other gas stations around Death Valley. I had to refill up. I spent $100 just on gas in Death Valley. Groceries over $200. Restaurants $222. These all look the same. Miscellaneous $158. Okay, what did I spend on miscellaneous? So let's zoom in. All right. Couple things we got on here. We got $30 All Trails Pro. Now I use an app called All Trails. It helps you just know where you are when you're walking on a hiking trail. And there's a free version and there's a pro version. The free version is great, but it only works when you have cell phone coverage. And I am often hiking where there's no cell phone coverage. So I bought the pro version for $30. It's a whole year of that. And the reason I did this is because then I was able to download each hiking trail I did for offline use. And that way, when I'm hiking, I didn't get off the trail somehow. I'm hiking alone all the time. So it just really helped me. $30 for the year, I didn't think it was bad at all. I also hit the road with an inflatable paddleboard, but my pump broke. So I had to buy a new pump, and that was $76. And then as I got into California and the gas prices were really starting to get me, I had this kind of bright idea to put some stickers on the trailer that were advertising that you could Venmo me gas money, because I thought, well, why not? I'll give it a shot. I'll put a sticker on there for my Venmo and say, I'll take gas money if you want to give it to me. And so that cost me $16. No one ever gave me gas money, but I had it on there for a little while. I ended up taking it off, so that was wasted $16. And yeah, you know, as I approached Northern California, it was still very cold, and so I picked up a wool blanket for $20. And then again, gloves. I think I returned the old gloves and then got these. That's why it's a difference of $16. So I paid $16 more than the gloves you saw on the previous month. So altogether that month I spent $1,500, over $1,500. So let me zoom out, and we can see over here the gas is clearly the biggest bulk of that month. So yeah. All right. May, still a lot of money in gas, $500. Groceries on the West Coast were very expensive, almost $500 in groceries. Woo! All right, scrolling down the car maintenance, $1,500. What did I spend so much on? Let's scroll down and zoom in. We got tires, alignment, and transmission flush. You know, tires are one of those things that I assumed I was probably going to have to spend on the road. I had the factory tires on there. The car was already a couple years old when I hit the road, and they were the factory tires. And, you know, it is what it is. I had to get new tires. I actually had a tire get a hole in it, and where it was, it couldn't be plugged up. So they said you'd have to buy a whole new tire for that one tire anyways. Since all the tires were starting to get eaten up, I just went ahead and just bought all 4 new tires. So altogether, $1,500 there. Let me zoom out. $1,581. I don't know why it's $1,581. This is $1,500. I don't know why, but all right, let's split the difference. $1,540. I don't know why there's a difference there. It looks like I picked up one campsite at $8 somewhere. I don't even remember where. Everything else looks the same, except for this. Planet Fitness, $25. Okay, this is when I hit Oregon, and when I got to Oregon, even in May of 2022, it was still very cold. It was snowing the first few days I was there, actually. And up to this point, traveling on the road, the way I did showers was I did a road shower mounted to the top of my teardrop. And if it got hot enough outside, it would warm up the water in there, and I was able to take a shower outside at a campsite. I also did aquatic centers. I also did YMCAs. Any place that I could get into a shower, and those all would cost money, but they would cost a couple dollars usually. So here I picked up Planet Fitness because I used it for the showers mostly, but also because when I was in Oregon and Washington State, it was still very cold, and I couldn't do a lot of hiking outside, and I was kind of going stir crazy. So this gave me an opportunity to actually get some exercise in, go work out a little bit. So $25. I didn't want to do it when I first hit the road, but it was well warranted. I really used those a lot. So that $25 really helped me a lot on the road. These just stayed the same. And then miscellaneous, $65. Let's zoom in. What did I spend $65 on? I had to get a new towel to wash my dishes with, and I got a microfiber quick drying towel, so that's why it's so expensive, $25. I got it at an outdoor store. Much more than what I need to spend on a dish towel, that's for sure. But again, it is what it is. I needed a good towel that would be quick drying, and that's just what it costs. I probably could have found one cheaper, but it is what it is. All right, I did one pilot shower on the road, meaning I went to one pilot gas station, and which are mostly used by truckers who drive long distances, and they have showers there, and you can get those for $15 a pop. So I only did one on the road, and then that's when I got the Planet. Like 2 days later, I was like, I'm not going to do that again. That's when I got the Planet Fitness at $25 because I was like, that's a way better deal for the whole month. I get endless showers, and this was one shower each time. No, I'm not going to do that. Also, when I was in Sisters, Oregon, I picked up a little beanie hat for $25. So yeah, let's zoom out and let's take a look. Obviously, car maintenance was the bulk right there. Over 50% of what I spent in the month was car maintenance. Again, spent a lot there on tires and things. All right, let's go up to June. Let's take a look. Gas still very expensive. By this point, I was still in Washington State, so I'm in the Pacific Northwest. Groceries are still pretty expensive, and I was eating out at restaurants a lot. I don't know why I was eating out so much there, but I was going out I don't remember the weather being really bad, so I'm not quite sure why I was eating out so much. Scrolling down, past all these, everything looks the same except for miscellaneous. $45. What did I spend on that? All right, I got a haircut for $25, and I picked up an Uber somewhere for $20. I don't quite remember where I went to that I needed an Uber, and I couldn't drive my car, but maybe I had some drinks somewhere and I just played it safe with an Uber. I don't really remember, but altogether I spent under $1,700 that month. And if you scroll out and look over here, again, the same things we saw. Going out to restaurants, buying groceries, and gas. All right, let's go to July and let's take a look at what I spent in July. Okay, the reason gas is so expensive in July is because this is when I went up to Canada, and Canada gas was super expensive, and I was doing a lot of driving up there. So that's why I spent nearly $775 on gas, a lot on groceries. It was pretty expensive up there as well for groceries and things. And then I think I just ate out a little bit more up there. That's a lot for eating out for me. Car maintenance. What did I spend $90 on? Let's scroll down here, zoom in, and go down. Oh, an oil change. Yeah, I needed an oil change, and my car only takes synthetic, so that's why that was so expensive. Let's zoom out and go up. Where we got $90. Okay, those all look the same. And then Apple Care, $10. We got Planet Fitness, $25. So these are all the same. Miscellaneous, $845. Let's zoom in. What did I get? Okay, as I went into Canada, I went to all national parks, and so I needed a national park pass, and that was $56. Here's where I spent a lot of money on something I really didn't need. I got some camera gear. It's called the Light Chaser Pro. You can look it up. It connects to your phone. $250. I didn't need it. I wanted it, and it is what it is. I bought it. I could have saved $250 easily, but I got it. And then here's where I talked about my car insurance every 6 months gets renewed, and that's $538. So that's why you see that on this list. So up here, $845 on miscellaneous. Brought my grand total to $2,700 for the month. really high, but I was spending a lot. Let me zoom out. I was spending a lot on gas. I bought, accessories I didn't really need to spend. I needed car insurance, so yeah, I spent a lot there. So if you look over here, gas being a big chunk, but kind of the same things we've seen every month. All right, August. Gas still being very expensive. Groceries. I didn't eat out of restaurants as much, which is nice. Car maintenance, $250. Let's scroll down, zoom in. What do I get? Okay, so I had some battery issues with my car when I was in Idaho, and I had to take it to the dealership and get that tested. Plus, I needed new windshield wipers really bad, and that cost me under $200. So, yeah. Again, having a car, you're going to spend money on it. It is what it is. All right, my trailer lights were starting to not work all the time, so I had to invest a little bit of money to get those fixed. I ended up getting a multimeter to test some electrical stuff going on in the trailer. So altogether, that cost me about $70 at Ace Hardware. Let's zoom out. And so that's where car maintenance, $257 comes in. As we scroll down, you're going to see two things here. Verizon, $80, and miscellaneous, $50. Verizon, I was going through data a lot more than I thought, and so I ended up having to change my plan again on the road. So $80 there, up from $70, and then miscellaneous $50. Let's zoom in. What did I? Oh yeah, I bought Filmic Pro for my phone to record videos. It's an app for your phone. It's a really good video app. Didn't need to spend it. I could have used the built-in app, but I wanted to make better videos for you guys, so I spent the extra $15 on it, just like I spent the extra $250 on the Light Chaser Pro because I wanted to make better videos for you guys. All right. When I was in South Dakota, I did a couple of tours through Jewel Cave and Wind Caves. You can't go into the cave systems there without a tour guide, and they cost me roughly $16 a pop. So that's why that's $33 there. Bringing those two things up there to $50, and I spent over $1,800 that month. Yeah, I'm not going to go over it. You see it right here. Car maintenance on that list this time. All right, September 2022. Starting to round out the year of traveling. Still a lot in gas. Dropping down a little bit. We got car maintenance, $233. What did I spend in car maintenance? Oh yeah, I had to renew my tags for roughly $45. And then I needed to silicone some areas on the trailer where I was starting to get a little bit of water, and I wanted to make sure that was not going to ruin my trailer. So that was $30 there. And then it looks like I got another oil change, tire rotation, air filter done on the car. So that's $160. So going up the top here under car maintenance, $233. We've got our usual suspects going all the way down to miscellaneous, $122. Let's go ahead and zoom in. What did we do? Okay. My buddy Nick, when I was in Wisconsin, let me borrow his drone, but he needed his SD card, so I had to pick up an SD card for $35. Then when I got to Niagara Falls, I did a couple of things that I didn't need to do, but wanted to do. One of them was Wind of the Caves. It's on the New York side of Niagara Falls, and that's $20. I took a toll road to get into Canada. That was $10. Then parking my car in Canada was $25. And then I did the boat ride into the falls for $32. This right here, I could have saved some money by not doing any of this. But it's one of those things in life that I said, I don't know when I'm ever going to get back to Niagara Falls. I just want to have the full experience. And so I just went ahead and did it. So that's why miscellaneous comes out to $122. And altogether, I spent over $1,900. So let's go ahead and zoom out and scroll down, and you see the chart over here has changed to reflect all this. October, one of the last months on the road, gas over $500, still very expensive. Scrolling down a little bit, lots of money on eating out at restaurants. You know, this was when I was in the Northeast and it was raining a lot, and so I just had to go out to restaurants because I couldn't cook outside in the rain. It is what it is. In New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine, it just rained a lot on me. I don't think anything's different here, but we do have miscellaneous all the way at the bottom, so $143. So let's scroll in. Let's see what we got. Okay. You know, I picked up a hat when I was in the Adirondacks. It's just a baseball cap. You've seen me wear it in videos. $20 there. Didn't need it. Could have saved $20. Wanted it. It is what it is. Haircut, way more than the first haircut I got on the road. but I don't know. I spent $40 on a haircut. What am I gonna say? All right, this is when I was in New Hampshire, and I went to a state park there called the Flume Gorge, and it was $20 to get in there. Again, I could have saved that $20, but I just wanted to experience it. It was really beautiful. I'm glad I spent the $20 there. And then still dealing with some silicone stuff on the trailer, making sure it was all protected from the water and the rain and all that good stuff. So $25 there. And then when I was in Salem, Massachusetts for around Halloween, it was really busy. And I didn't want to drive my car and trailer into that area, so I parked my trailer somewhere, and I took a lift in and out of Salem. So that cost me $26 total. And then it looks like probably the day I parked my car somewhere, it cost me $12 to take that lift. So yeah. So altogether that month I spent over $1,700. Let's zoom out, and here is the pie graph over here. And let's go ahead and go to the last month on the road, November. Way less in gas here. As I approach the south, I'm spending a lot less in gas, which is great. Even groceries and things are really starting to drop for me. I don't think anything changes till I get down to miscellaneous. So let's take a look at what I spent on miscellaneous. All right, when I hit Philadelphia, I went ahead and did a tour to see Independence Hall. That was only $1, but I put it on there. Statue of Liberty, $25. I did that from the Jersey side. Statue of Liberty is something I always wanted to see, so I didn't think $25 was bad at all. But to park my car at the Statue of Liberty to do that was $8. And then my National Park Pass actually expired when I had just, I think, 3 more national parks to see on my journey. And so when I went to Shenandoah, New River Gorge, and I can't remember the one in South Carolina, but I did get a new pass, and it's $80 for the year, so that's why you only see that this one time. And unfortunately, the external hard drive that I store all my raw footage from my YouTube videos before I edit them and make them into videos took a crash on me, so I need a new one. So $153, and that's because it's a 4 terabyte hard drive, so I need a really good one to store a lot of video content. So that's why it's $153. So altogether, that cost me $267. So bringing my total to $1,420. So you can see, like, I'm spending about $1,500 a month, basically, on average here. So let's zoom out, and we got this pie graph over here. Okay, so remember, let's go back to here. Remember, I was hoping to spend about $10,000 for the year, which came out to under $900 a month and just under $30 a day. Clearly, I did not hit that. So what did I actually end up spending on the grand total? $22. Way over budget by double, obviously. More than double. It is what it is. You know, there's a lot of months I could have not, done the boat to Niagara Falls. I didn't have to pick up these tours when I was in the cave systems. I definitely didn't need this Light Chaser Pro thing. I definitely didn't need to get a SD card. I definitely didn't need to get Filmic Pro. But these are all things I wanted to do, and some of them I didn't a lot of them I did for the channel to make better content for you guys. A lot of them I did just because I wanted a better experience. So these caves that I went into and stuff. So yeah, it is what it is. Let's go back and look at that. Learn from my mistakes. Go out to eat at fast food restaurants versus sit-down restaurants. Have plenty of winter gear before you hit the road. Don't buy camera gear that you really don't need. These are all areas where I definitely spent a lot more money than I should have, but hopefully this helps you out, and hopefully you can save a little bit of money on the road if you decide to travel. All right, well, that's it. As I mentioned before, not the most exciting video, but again, for those who are really serious about traveling full-time for an extended period of time, hopefully this video is very helpful for you. Thanks for escaping normal life with me.